Hello world, this is Zan playing Late Age Calum in this 2022 Dominions 5 tournament. This is turn 71. And while this turn has a lot of battles in it that you see, most of them tend to be raiding, but there is a lot of diplomatic repercussions that are happening behind the scenes of this turn. So when I open up the turn, I see a report in Knies Plain that I've blocked a dome, or I've blocked an attack with my dome. Good. We stooped Golem. Our white mage once more comes in. This time I kill an adept of the Silver Order, 4 mages, and a bunch of units. Pretty good to me. We have a bunch of random little battles. Again, just beating up Pangean massive PD dumps. In this one, unfortunately, I think Pangea is going on the offensive with me. He brings a giant mage stack and a lot of units onto my fort at the Knies Plain. He defeats me at the Barren Crags. I really just have Spire Horns, and this is one of the things, I'm pretty sure he's casting big Earth and Nature spells here. Oh no. I was gonna say, it's something you can really do with Pans, is that they can very cheaply come in and raid and just straight up cast Army of Gold or something crazy. It looks like here he just went for a Creeping Doom, which is, don't get me wrong, Creeping Doom is also really freaking good for raiding. You'll see me use it in a future series. But looks like I was wrong there. Well, we're still losing in most of these fights. Here, unfortunately, I lost with my Lich doing the province defense dump. I wonder what happened. Okay, he does Soul Vortex. He doesn't get off invulnerability yet. I think that it might just be what it is. Yeah, it looks like he just wasn't able to cast invulnerability to get that extra bump in protection. And you see most of these hits are hitting him for, 4 or 5, which would have otherwise been negated with invulnerability. So that's unfortunate. It's also crossbowmen instead of, I think the other province had archers. Close range crossbowmen will kill you. So that's really unfortunate that that fails. Luckily it's the Lich, he'll be back, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have too crazy of an item setup. So this one succeeds. We lose again here to these Hoplite mercenaries, but they're gone forever, so that's okay other than me not taking the province. Okay, we take some of these other ones. We have now our battle in Dopharos, or should I say Atlantis' battle in Dopharos. And this has me livid. Because although I win this fight, I lose 48 Spirehorn warriors to Atlantis. Over here in Dopharos, which if you remember last turn, I was retaking this from Demon Indies that rebelled. And now I have the situation where I've joined this coalition. I have begun to share information of my army troop movements, of what I'm planning, of what I'm doing. And the only, I guess, feedback that I'm getting in return is both Midgard and Atlantis taking advantage of indie raids or Pangea raids to slowly cut off pieces of my country or of my nation and just whittle me down. Sure, they're doing some attacks into Pangea. I personally can't see exactly what's happening. All my scouts in Atlantis died due to one of his many casts, the Vengeful Waters. So I don't really have a good intel on what actually is happening in the Pangean border with Midgard and Atlantis. All I see from my point of view is that anytime I lose a province on my borders, either to Indies or Pangea, one of my allies, quote unquote, are moving in to take it from me and then essentially telling me to kick rocks, just deal with it. You're so big, you don't need these provinces. Deal with it. I don't like all this two-faced vitriol that is going on. I don't understand why. This is a game. If you wanted to fight me, I guess, don't join my coalition. Start working with Pangea. It really has me at a loss, just because I'm not the kind of player that does this, so it really rubs me the wrong way. And it's the Dominions has a really interesting system where it has this freeform, very, very human diplomacy. You can do this. You can straight up lie and manipulate people. But these are people like the community for Dominions is very small. Do you really want to be known as a liar and a manipulator? And like I have to play with these people again in the future, very likely, or at least I will be given many options to play with these players again in the future. And why would I want to? Why would I want to play with someone who does this shit that they were doing here at Belagor, or now Atlantis is starting to do it too? Now, again, I'm being told, oh, these are accidents. Because, simultaneously, and I don't know if I've mentioned this at all in the series, simultaneously, while this is going on, for the past about 30 turns, the Pangea player has been asking for almost week-long extensions. I might be, overgeneralizing how long they've been, but it's been a very consistent. Each turn takes about a week. So a lot of my motivation to play in the game has already started to disappear because I'll come in and I'll do a move and I'll either finish it the night of or get very close to it, but then I have to wait a week for everyone else to do their turns. And it's insane. I think we were doing really good at the beginning, and then after about turn 50 or so, it's gotten to the point where the tournament organizers have started to step in and say that we need to stop asking for such long extensions and do our damn turns. So it's tough. It's pretty tough. Anyways, it's a lot of ranting here. Turn 71, nothing really happens other than I'm sending a force to retake Trollland, a small force, and this is because I essentially throw down an ultimatum to Midgard, which is either you stop trying to sabotage me, and I'm going to retake Trollland from you. You're going to let me take it. If I fail to take it, or if I meet any defense, between you and Atlantis, I am leaving the coalition. I am going to declare war on you, Midgard. And if Pangea wins, as a result of me not being able to focus everything I have on stopping them, tough shit. So turn 71 is a very fun, vitriolic turn that does not leave me a happy camper with this game. Let's move on to turn 73. Maybe it gets better. Maybe. We have a battle in range flight, so that's stupid golem again. And we're beaten over here in the Forest of Gila. I think I tried to do a Winds of Death trap, and I was foiled immediately. No biggie. Minor battle in Estenofia, and I ended up taking Trollland last turn. If you notice, I'm on turn 73. I skipped 72. I don't have the save. So I end up taking Trollland last turn. He didn't really leave any defense. But now I'm met with this. He sends 3 Vampire Lords to take it back. So he says, his response is essentially, I'm not going to defend Trollland, but if you take it, then yes, that is a declaration of war. So I'm now at war with Midgard. Isn't that great? We have a bunch more battles all over the place. It's just, when you get raided like this in the late game, you really can't roll over and just let it happen. You do have to move out of your forts and try to fight back. Take your mages out, give them the troops. It's just every fight is against hundreds of province defense. So even if I send 80 units and 2 mages, I end up not being able to guarantee a win every time, and I start losing. Here I meet his larger force. Here I'm able to beat a force of just pure mercenaries, but it does cost me anyways. So most of it is just all these random little fights. It's important to note, he had attacked me in Knies Plain, I think, but he ended up moving off. Yeah, down here in Knies Plain. I think he also attacked me here in the Verdant Steppe, and he ended up moving off as well. And that was for the best for him, because I think I had planned a lot of Winds of Death. Now, these look like fighters. I had planned for a very large battle to happen here, and he ended up moving off of it because he knew I still had Dominion here, which means he didn't have Gift of Health, and therefore the battle was risky for him. He does take my fort at Terrace Peaks. It was just out of range of what my fleet in Being Doctrine could reliably cover. So unfortunately, he does take that fort. Luckily, it's not an important fort, but it happens. Meanwhile, Atlantis has returned to Murius. I don't remember what happened before. I don't remember seeing it. And it looks like the fort is breached, so he might storm it that turn. There are some other engagements being planned, but nothing too big as to what is happening here in Nomeria, which is once more Midgard attacks Pangaea. Notice, and he is very happy about this. Notice that it says Midgard attacks Pangaea, and I'm attacking Midgard. I am the villain. Nymeria is down here in Abyssea's land. I don't know if it's now or later that pretty much talking to Pan, the Pan player figures out. I don't think they were told about this, but they kind of figure out that if they raid provinces from me on the Midgard border, Midgard will come in and take them, or try to take them. So even the Pangaea player kind of figures out what's going on, and I don't blame him for doing this, but once he's figured out that him raiding me on the Midgardian border is going to cause conflict between Midgard and I, okay, now it becomes his absolute best move to raid me on the Midgardian border and prevent us from working together against him. Because obviously the only player that benefits, like Midgard might think he's benefiting from taking this tiny little province from me. But the only player that's benefiting is Pangaea, who will be able to consistently outproduce anything Midgard can do. It's I don't understand the logic personally, but it's what's happening on turn 73. So as a result of all of this, I end up, at least from my point of view, causing the dissolution of the coalition. I frankly tell Atlantis and Midgard to go get bent. I refuse to work together with them because all that's happened since working together with them is getting attacked. Now, and I don't blame Atlantis as much. It's likely that their attack into Dopharos was an honest mistake, as you can tell by their actually attacking Pan over here. But between that having happened and Midgard's insistence on doing it, and just general vitriolic diplomacy, like our diplomacy has not been clean or nice. It's a lot of him trying to take the high ground in his actions to undermine me at Belagor and Trollland, now Nymeria, because he is technically attacking Pan as promised. But that's some like sly, sneaky, slimy shit that like we're all adults here. We know what you're doing. You're not some kid who thinks they're being slick and getting away with things. And I just personally wouldn't. Why would I ever willingly in the future play with someone who does that? Like this is a video game. There's no reason to be toxic in a video game like that or promote it. It really hit me from the side on how, or blindsided me on just how vitriolic people would be just because this specific Dominions game has the word tournament in front of it. Why do you need to be such like a liar or a schemer or anything like that? Like, why can't you just play the game as normal? If you don't want to work together with me, just be like, hey, no, look, I'd rather do my own thing. In which case, like, if that was the route Midgard had taken, then I'd be like, oh man, I see that the Midgard player is trying to undermine me. Like, now I have to work against that. No, instead he said, yes, I will join this coalition against Pan. I will be privy to all your military secrets in regards to attacking Pan and where your armies are moving to try to intercept Pangaea's armies. And after I've done that and giving you the promise that we're going to cooperate, now I'm going to start stabbing you in the back and then trying to take the high ground for stabbing me in the back. I'm at a loss for words. Truly. So anyways, let's move on to turn 74. And I think this is the final turn that I actually have saved. So this episode would actually be the end of the Calum series. So we have Dire Portent as Midgard is casting a major global. It's not telling me which one it is here, right? Let's just pop over. So he casts Blood Vortex, which does actually end up popping off Pangaea's Gift of Nature's Bounty. That's good. That might signal the turn for the war, except for a tiny little detail in that that Gift of Nature's Bounty was minimum cast. And Pangaea has just been storing up the nature gems to overcast it now. So maybe for one turn they've declined or denied Pangaea the income, but it's coming back, guys. Anyways, we have some more fighting Urfel, the stupid golem, my own attack. We resist some seduction attempts. And by resist, I mean die pitifully. Except for this guy. Jesus, what did he do? Oh, it was just an unequipped Dryad. I guess the other ones had gems and this one maybe forgot to bring gems. That's unfortunate. Anyways, we have a bunch of battles, of which let's just go straight to the good one. And this might be the final battle of the series. We have a battle in the Forest of Gila, because you can't have a fleet in Being Doctrine and have your fleets ready to go, set on intercept, and then not actually intercept. So we see a large Pangean army potentially moving into Gila with a horde of mages. Not as many mages as he tends to bring to fights, but a lot more troops than he tends to bring to fights, which is good for me. So I bring the entire fleet. We've got Pallbearer, who's going to play as a big nature caster. We've got a Lich, some of my own mages. Got turn 1 fireballs or firebolts. Let's see what happens. We have his first volley. I've got some turn 1 evocations to hit his troops, and we both start casting Wailing Winds. Weapons of Sharpness, Army of Golds. He's got his Wrathful Skies. And down we go. And most of my troops, ideally, have Rush of Strength. Not all of them have Weapons of Sharpness, which is unfortunate. These Spirehorn Warriors don't actually have any shock resistance due to Army of Gold, and I don't think I had cast an Air or Earth spell to give them shock resistance, which is unfortunate. Maybe I should have. Especially since I know that Pangea has been doing the Wrathful Skies for a bit. In terms of the rest of the globals, Relief, Howl, Blood Rain. Blood Rain just to lower everyone's morale, including his own. Yeah. So it's pretty much just a test of who's going to retreat first from Wailing Winds. And I hate a lot of times that Dominions 5 late game battles end up devolving into that. Who's going to retreat from Wailing Winds first? It's such a silly spell. So one benefit of having these life after death guys is although my Kalian flyers may retreat from that, the Soulless cannot retreat. So they'll stick around and die twice. Thankfully I've got Pallbearer here in the back with a lot of morale. He's got a lot of magic resistance. He has learned his lesson. He is not getting Soul Slayed today, guys. And his high morale and presence on the battlefield maybe wasn't enough for a lot of the soldiers, but a lot of the mages with him choose to stay and fight a little longer than they would otherwise have. We have a Disintegrate caster up in the front, this Soulless guy. He's doing fantastic. He actually won't retreat. So it's probably a good thing that he died. Another one over here, casting Paralyze. And again, Pallbearer in the back is doing his thing. Apparently I don't have Pallbearer set to Advance and Cast. So I just mostly let these wolves do the work. I likely, very, very likely would have lost if Pallbearer wasn't here to cast whatever spells he had been doing. This goes to show that even in the absolute late game, this is turn 74, I believe, a Defender Titan is still useful as a big caster of whatever he's doing. That's pretty sad. What's going on over there? But we eventually win the battle at the Forest of Gila. We take absolutely horrendous heavy losses, losing 272 Spirehorn Warrior, the other ones routing, and honestly, they didn't really accomplish much. Well, that might also be due to a bug, a display bug, when they get turned into Soulless Warrior that kind of messes up with the math. On Pangea's side, he does lose a lot of what he had. It's probably gold-wise comparable to what I lost. I don't really want to do the math. But once you pop in Gift of Nature's Bounty, technically giving him 300% gold, which in terms of a value battle report, making this force worth a third of what it costs, I lose out. And I will always lose out because he has Gift of Nature's Bounty. So that's very unfortunate. And these Grove Guard, man, they are doing so good. 26 Grove Guard, 162 kills. That's insane. Taking advantage that the Kalians are size 3 to swing these massive battle axes at very high attack skill, usually with Weapons of Sharpness. They're very good units. And everything else I think is just little piddly raids. We have another battle here in Alsandias. And this is the start of the declaration of war against Midgard. I guess this is like patrolling forces that he had. He was likely patrolling this for blood hunting. And we come down and kill most of the patrollers. It's 18 Great Eagles, so that is a significant amount of air gems that we've killed. Is that Camazotz? Just a regular Camazotz, or was it like empowered or something? Or a random? It's so small I can't even see it. No, he's just a patroller. But the Great Eagles are definitely the prize there. So we've taken Assandius, we've broken it, and we can storm it, but I don't think I'll ever know because I ended up subbing out of the game at this point. Because the diplomacy I was now receiving from Midgard was extra toxic. I had a bunch of other stuff going on in life, and at this point, I decide that I'm no longer interested in the tournament. I really don't want to win, which is ironic considering some of the news I'll be giving in a few minutes. But I'm no longer interested in the tournament because I feel the sense of this is a game, let's try to all have fun and have a good time playing together. I think it mostly gets lost because we've slapped that word tournament in front of it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just this Midgard player is not a nice person. And I know in future games I will 100% avoid playing with them. Like if I'm in a lobby and I see them there, I will literally leave because I know that they're a good player, but I just don't want to play with them. They're not nice. They're that kid that plays too rough in the playground. Why would I play with you again? I'm not dumb. So at this point, I choose to sub out. I still believe Kalem is in a strong position. The battle at the Forest of Gila is very telling in how future battles might be, because Kalian troops, at least the Spirehorn that I've been recruiting, and again, I think I said this before, I think I should have switched to Stormguard as I took on more of a defensive role, but I don't know how much stronger they would be doing against Groveguard. But essentially, what I can recruit is no match to what the Pangeans can recruit, and I think a lot of battles going forward would probably look similar to that one in the Forest of Gila. And even then, I'm barely able to hold off Pangea, but now I start having to fight Midgard too. It's just very unlikely that I'll be able to win. And if you even look over here in Murius, that large Atlantean force that was there too also was defeated by Pan. So Atlantis and I are not doing well against Pan, and Midgard is not working with us to fight Pan. Actually, he's likely colluding with Pangea to try and win the game. Like to win the game himself by working with Pangea. And I think he was betting that him dispelling or getting rid of Gift of Nature's Bounty was going to be the play. That was going to get him the win, but as I said a little earlier, Pangea min-casted that Gift of Nature's Bounty, or didn't put too much in it, and he's been stockpiling gems ever since, getting ready to cast it a second time. So I think the future looks bleak in this game, and I know where I'm recording this now, the game is already completed, but I know where I stood. My last message to these guys was, what's going to end up happening is Pangea's going to win, just through Gift of Nature's Bounty, sending him, giving him unlimited resources and whatnot. But it's going to be a slow, grindy win, and they're going to get stuck playing this game for a very long time as a result. And I don't think I personally did anything wrong. I could be wrong, and please leave me in the comments. Let's talk about how my decisions in the game led to this point. I would be so down to talk about that in the comments. But I think I played to the best of my ability. And so did the others, but I just think that the diplomatic outlook of Midgard was wholly, completely unnecessary, uncalled for, and very toxic for a traditional game in the Dominions community. I think that just the fact that, and this is not the original Midgard player, I don't know if I've clarified that, this is someone that subbed in, so maybe that's why he cared a little less, but I just, my going opinion is that because the word tournament was slapped in front of the name of this game, that they want to get a bit sweatier and be a little bit more toxic just so they can try and get the win by any means necessary. And I just don't personally approve of that. I don't, for a community as small as the one we have, I don't think that's the way that we should be playing. We should be fostering a more friendly, a more cooperative community where you don't lie and scheme and backstab the people you're playing with in order to achieve a win. Because ultimately, like who cares, right? It's a video game online. Why are you going to treat people like shit? If you didn't want to join the coalition against Pan, just say so. Don't join the coalition just to backstab everyone that we've dropped our cards against you. I don't know. I've been ranting about this for a while now, and I recorded this last episode and this episode back to back. So maybe I'm being a little extra salty. I don't know if you guys will like that. I'm apologizing if you don't. But yeah, that'll be the end of the Calum series in terms of these play-by-play, reviewing the turns. I'll have 2 more episodes out. One is just going to be a long-form review of the game from where I started to the stage we're in now, just kind of going over the map because maybe somebody wants to rewatch the series or at least catch up to what happened without actually watching every single episode, and that's fine. So I'll be doing something like that. And then I'll do, now that I've played the nation, I've played it intensely, I think I feel confident that I can go give a full-on review or tutorial, guide, whatever name you want to give it for Late Age Calum. And I hope that ends up pretty cool. Hope you guys like it. Hope you guys like the series. The next one, by popular vote, will be Late Age Agartha. It is a game that I also subbed out of at this time. I subbed out of that Late Age Agartha game and the Middle Age Phlegra game simultaneously when I left this one because I was very, very unhappy with how things were happening. The Late Age Agartha game also had its own fair share of drama that I will get into when I get there that happened at the same time as this drama. And I was just really confused at the time on why all of a sudden all of these Dominion 5 games that I was playing in was just these toxic diplomatic games that was really just not making me want to play. And I like playing this game. This game is so damn cool. I like playing this game. I like playing with other people. I like talking about it. I like making videos on it. And I was just really confused why everything all of a sudden was just very, very, very toxic. And I wasn't sure why. And I thought the best thing I could do was back up, take a break, leave all of my games, take a break, and come back in the future. And just as a quick spoilers, after I've completed the next few sets of videos, I think there were 3, like by popular vote, there were 3 different sets of videos that were pitched or voted for. The 4th series that I will put up in my channel after this one will be an unfortunate situation where months from now, months after the end of this game, I have been asked to sub into the end of Tournament 1 as Middle-Aged Miglin. And that ended up being an interesting game too. I think I've got a good amount of turns in that one. They might not have such pitched battles as this one did, but they got a lot of thinking, a lot of planning, a few interesting battles, and just the power of what a late game Miglin is able to do, even if they don't have blood magic. So with that, I will see you guys next time in the Late Age Agartha series.